Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to English 101. We are beginning week 5. But before we get too deep into the week, I wanted to talk about the first drafts of LE1s that you submitted over the weekend, the end of week 4. If you submitted it as a Word document, a docx, you'll see my comments are attached to this email. If you submitted it in some other format like PDF, then my comments you'll find on Blackboard, and I'm unable to write detailed comments when you submit it in a format other than docx. So next time, please follow the instructions there. You do want my comments. You should also have comments from at least 2 peers. Some people only got comments from 1 peer. One person got 0. We'll talk about that. Plus my comments. So potentially you could have 3 sets of eyes on this. And I know this is a little clunkier to do online. Normally we sit in class and everyone gets a cup of coffee and we trade essays, paper copies, and we get out our pens and pencils and write. It's just a much more user-friendly experience. Fortunately, we're just sort of stuck with this in a fully online class. But I want to talk about the peer process and how that goes. So let's switch screens. Now here I've got peer group 1 open, and I've organized them so all the essays by an author are together. So you can see 3 for everyone except maybe at the end here, I think. And that's great. You want to have your essay, like Ariana has her, essay and poster on underage drinking. She wrote a letter to Carson. She wrote a letter, Carson Manoy, that is, and Carson McSorley. Now here's one issue right away. So Caitlin has her essay here for free school lunches. And notice she didn't say who the letters are to. It's important that you say Caitlin's letter to Bob or Caitlin's letter to Sally. Otherwise, people have a hard time figuring it out, and people don't want to have to open your document to see who it's to whom it is. So you'll have to do that now so you can see where Caitlin's are. So in the future, make sure you follow those directions as well. And then as you go through these, you'll see comments or peer letters. And it's whatever whatever they format they chose to use. But I want to talk a little bit about following instructions. So I'm going to go back to the LE1 instructions. We are in week 3, and there's a few real basic things I noticed. First of all, a minimum of 3 full pages of text, not 2 3/4 or 1 or 1.5. No more than 4, so you have to rein it in a little bit. And you will need a works cited page. That's a requirement. And the only sources you may use must come from Academic One files. So no other sources, not from a OneSearch or Google or ProQuest. The reason is I turned you all on to Topic Finder, I hope a couple of weeks ago on a discussion board. And so I want you to practice with this database. You can use the cite tool on that source for your works cited entries. It's really just copying and pasting. You have to clean up the format, sometimes add spacing, the right font, italics. No more than 3 sources may be used. I recommend 2 to 3. I do have some people who have additional sources like for photographs. Those don't count in your 2 to 3, and you're welcome to include those if they come just from the web. So what concerns me is I would say about 50, maybe 55% of the class didn't follow the directions. Please make sure you do that for the final essay, or I might have to return it to you and it'll be a rewrite. You're not going to get as much in terms of point for it. Think of this again as bookending the essay. You start by reading the instructions, you do all your composing, and then you read the instructions one more time just to make sure you've covered your bases. Is it a good idea to wait till Sunday night? No, not really. And you're putting a lot of stress on yourself. A lot of essays turned in the last 5 minutes of Sunday evening. Personally, I would take care of it all on Saturday. Or if you just want a quick look at it Sunday, let your writing cool. That's always a good idea too. But obviously, you're not going to do your best work when you're, hammering away at the keyboard and trying to finish in the last, few minutes of the day. A couple other things I wanted to talk about. When you use essays, quotes in essays, sources, you must quote from them. So some of you are using numbers and figures, and if you want to briefly put the source in parentheses after those numbers and figures, that's fine. It's always better, however, to quote. Actually pull that sentence from the source and put it into your essay. If you're still not sure, and I wrote some detailed comments about giving credit correctly, if you go back to week 2, there's a short video presentation about how to give credit correctly. That's about the best I can do online at a distance here. And then as we get ready for the final, one last thing I would recommend is the Language Arts Tutorial Lab. You can make an appointment with them through tutoring and get some more help with your paper. There's a link for this. If we go back to Blackboard, you can see it right here, GRCC Language Arts Lab. So those are a few things I wanted to mention before we go into final copies. And of course, final copies carry a lot of weight. Those essays are 100 points, the long essays, and the short essays only account for 50 points. So here's a chance to boost your grade in the right direction. And just a reminder for those of you who are stressing out about discussion board or first drafts or peer letters or trying to think other things that are in there. Oh, modules. Participation counts for a pretty good portion of your grade. I believe it's 15 or 20% in this class. The modules are only 10% in this course. And that's because obviously we want to put 70 or so percent into essays, short and long essays, the MLA research essay, and of course, this big portfolio you turn in at the end, which is sort of like a collection. I used to do this with my middle school students years ago. Think of it as like a magazine about yourself at the end of the course. And just one more thing before I leave you. I've approved most of the MLA research essay questions. That will be the final essay, and you're welcome to dive in and probably should start diving in on that essay even this week or soon. You don't want to wait till the last week. If I go over here and check sign up here, I'll show you approved. Click one more screen. And sometimes I need more information. Like Christina has written about mushroom before. We want a unique pick, so we want to leave that guy for another day. Oh, you're an expert, it sounds like, at this. We want to leave that so we're not writing about the same thing. Sometimes I need specificity, like Riley was talking about traumatic stress. I need to kind of know what you mean by that, like poverty, abuse, other kinds of traumatic stress. Just writing about traumatic stress in general is pretty vague. With Carson too, I said, you probably want to write it about another topic here because we've already done that for LE1. Broca's area, which Trinity. Here's a great question from Joaquin. Financial literacy. I think that I wish I had a class like that. It would be great. And I'll give you sometimes not only an approval, but a place where you might begin. One dealing with art from Abby. I'm a big fan of Banksy. What a clever guy. Technology and health, mental health specifically, nutritional myth, electric cars, reading to children. Kind of a new take on gun control, which usually I consider a stale topic, but I think given everything that's happened, it's worth another look at. Even the power of raising plants. So if you don't see approved here, that means I'm still waiting. So get in there and do that soon. And that way I know I can go in and give you a thumbs up or thumbs down on it. As usual, any questions, contact me as soon as possible. Hang in there, folks. I know this is not an easy course. I know from experience teaching this online, I wish I could be right there over your shoulder, more accessible, but I'll do the best I can. So again, if you want to contact me, please do it earlier in the week. That always is a better move. Take care.